Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Happy Thanksgiving week. In the next couple days, what are y'all doing today? How are you preparing? How are you feeling? I wanted to do an episode on gratitude, but with a little twist. I know that this can be a month that is more difficult. It's a season that can be more difficult and triggering than other times. Hopefully, today, the thoughts that I share around gratitude, but graceful acknowledgement not only validate those of you who find it hard right now and triggering right now, but allows you to gently move towards this idea of gratitude in a way that feels comfortable to you. It is the month that you might be scrolling along social media and you're finding yourself maybe being triggered a little bit more as you're seeing more gratitude posts and acknowledgments. And here you are having the most hellacious year that you've probably had in your entire life. Those of you who are in this place where feeling like you need to be grateful, or feeling the pressure to be grateful, or feeling so many people around you express more gratitude, feeling pressure. I want to speak to you today. I want to acknowledge how painful this can be, as, like I mentioned, there most likely have been little, if few things to be grateful for these past few months or even this past year. With so much loss, with so much discord, with so much conflict, those of you who are experiencing grief like you've never experienced in your life, I think sometimes moving into this time of year, it can really be triggering to feel like you are supposed to feel gratitude. Today, I'm going to offer another phrase, another idea that hopefully will help ease some of the pressure that you might be feeling to be grateful right now when perhaps you just can't fathom it. Graceful acknowledgement goes a little along the lines of acceptance, but not so radically. Radical acceptance is a very strong word because it is complete and total acceptance. It requires you to move. It requires you to do something. It requires you to let go of the rope. It requires you to make a shift, a change. It requires you to do some actionable thing in most cases. But graceful acknowledgement is a little gentler. It is about recognizing and accepting where you are right now without feeling the pressure to feel differently or even do something differently. Graceful acknowledgement is the practice of acknowledging your feelings, your struggles, your reality with the gentle acceptance that doesn't demand you to change anything or start being hopeful, start being positive. It's about wrapping your arms around yourself right now and being okay that you are not okay. Practicing graceful acknowledgement is simple. It's recognizing your feelings, it's validating them, whether it's sad, anger, frustration, grief, disappointment, deep despair. It's acknowledging these feelings and validating that you have a right to feel them with what you are going through, with what you're experiencing, with what your current situation is actually demanding. Sometimes our situation is demanding the emotion of anger, of grief, and not gratitude. Having self compassion for where you are at and practicing doing exercises that maybe this involves writing yourself a letter right now, writing yourself a letter from the perspective of a self compassionate friend, giving you permission to feel what you feel right now and be where you're at right now, and do so without any judgment. Think about the moments in your day where you felt a little less angry, a little less grief, a little less burdened. Maybe it's during a walk. Maybe it's when you eat an actual meal. Maybe it's when you're watching a show. Notice that moment of relief rather than trying to force gratitude. Notice when you're not as depressed, when you're not as activated. These aren't moments of profound gratitude, but just these subtle spots where the weight just is lightly lifted. This can be a little bit more tangible, a little less daunting than trying to find these big things that we're grateful for in the middle of hell. The other thing that you can do right now with graceful acknowledgement is setting realistic expectations, trying not to force yourself into a phase that you're not ready for. Gratitude is a phase, gratitude is a step. Gratitude is more along the lines of maybe finding meaning in that stage of grief. And we're just not there yet. I can't imagine telling somebody who just comes to me as a client and says, I just discovered my partner's infidelity. I wouldn't push them to this stage of grief that says, well, let's find the meaning behind it and something to be grateful for, right? That would be audacious. That would be ridiculous. It would be rude. So, right now, if you are feeling pressured to find some big gratitude in your life when you're not ready for it, it's audacious. You're not ready. It would be rude. So, validate that you want to engage in ways that feel right for you. That can be incredibly empowering when you don't have this huge expectation to be in a place or in a space emotionally that you're just not ready for. You can have boundaries to protect these traditions of Thanksgiving and events that can feel really overwhelming, setting realistic expectations, maybe when you are having Thanksgiving, when you are going to these different things. If you aren't feeling like you're in a position to say no to some of these different things that you'll do, maybe shifting, maybe saying no to bringing something this time, maybe saying no to making four things and just make one. Set realistic expectations for yourself right now and not give in to some of this societal pressure or family pressure that the holiday season sometimes demands or expects. You get to be in charge of what you are ready and able and capable of doing right now and giving yourself grace to be in that place. Now, if you are open to it, you can gently shift towards a gratitude practice that isn't about a big or specific thing, but rather about the ability to endure and continue. My shift started with being grateful that I just got out of bed, being grateful that I walked my butt over to the shower, being grateful for laundry soap. I remember walking down the hall and looking into my laundry room and just saying, I'm glad I have laundry soap. It didn't have to be anything big. There wasn't really anything big that I felt grateful for. So if you feel ready or up to it, start with something small. Start with something tangible, something tiny that you can appreciate in yourself. I am really grateful that I faced today, which was really, really hard. It was hard to face my family, being the only single one. I'm really grateful and proud of myself that I leaned into that uncomfortable situation. I am really, really grateful for my determination to heal, my determination to take care of my children, my determination to own my truth. Sometimes just starting there can open the door to a little bit more profound sense of personal acknowledgement and validation and gratitude. Shifting your focus from big acts and acknowledgements of gratitude right now, shift to graceful acknowledgement. Validating your feelings here can provide that supportive space to recognize your current experience as it is without guilt and without pressure. This is a way to honor your journey, honor where you're at, honor what you have been through, honor your grief, and gently nudge you towards the healing path, but from a more realistic and personalized way. I hope this helps. I hope this helps allow you to accept more of where you are currently at and not feel so much of this pressure as perhaps you might be feeling, getting from other people around you that are starting to talk more about this time of year. As always, even right now, you can choose the experience that you want to have during this holiday. You can step into a more empowered space as you give yourself some graceful acknowledgement that you might not be in the space of gratitude. And you can create that for yourself because you can. Take care, everybody. 'Tis the season for triggers, right? I know all the feels. One way to support your body and manage your triggers is to have a trauma kit or two ready to go so that when you are triggered or are in that fight, flight, freeze, you can calm that down so that you can keep functioning. Fight, flight, freeze pulls you out of present, takes you out of body, and has a physical impact on you every time. The more you're in the space, the more disconnected you become. One way that you can manage these triggers is tapping into your five senses. Having a trigger kit with things in there that help you access your five senses can be helpful. I have three of them. What I do know is that sometimes we're in a space where thinking about putting a kit together or gathering items can also be triggering or just feel like too much, which is why I decided to put a bunch together for you all. If you go to chooserecoveryservices.com, go to the podcast and scroll down, you will see the link to purchase your trigger kit that I will send you today. I always have one in my car. I have one for some purses because I have a lot of purses. I always take one when I travel, and especially to have one to bring to family functions where you can sneak in the bathroom, pull out your kit, and utilize these tools to help you come back towards you, to help you ground, to help you breathe, to help you come back to the present. Again, check them out, chooserecoveryservices.com, or head over to the show notes and click the link there. Taking charge of your recovery, taking charge of your healing, and it is absolutely how you can choose you. Take care, everybody.
I'm going to guess that healing from betrayal was something that you never thought you'd have to deal with or hoped you'd never have to deal with. And doing this type of work is the hardest emotional work you may ever have to do. And you don't have to do it alone. We have coaches and therapists in our Choose Healing groups to help lead you and guide you forward, who have not only learned the tools and resources to help you get to that healing and freedom and peace again, but have walked that path themselves. And in those groups, you're going to find other women who understand your pain, who can say that, me too, and who can give you that support, not just in your weekly group meetings, but that connection between meetings. I encourage you to take that brave step forward, to be vulnerable. It is not easy, but the reward of putting in the work, putting that one step forward as you choose healing and you choose recovery and you choose you, you will be able to move forward and heal.